Morgan. It's Sunday. It is Yud Beis Elul Tavshin Ayin Daled. We are in Teres Menachem, Sefer HaMamarim Tavshin Yud Aleph Tavshin Yud Beis. In the Maimer of Sunday, Pashas Pinchas, Yud Gimel Tammuz Tavshin Yud Beis. Mamar Nosato Lireiecho. We are on page Shin Lamed Gimel 333. We are in the middle of the paragraph, beginning with the word V'hinei, on page Shin Lamed Gimel, and we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines from the bottom. The line starts with Masha Enkein in a Rosh Hashanah, in a acronym, yeah? Masha Enkein. Huh?
Rosh Hashanah, Queen's English. Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah, Rosh Hashanah, Queen's English. So, the Rebbe here is discussing the difference between Eir HaMemale and Eir HaSeviv. Right? The divine light that fills worlds and the divine light that surrounds worlds, that is transcendent. And the Rebbe says like this. I think what we should do is we'll go through the Ois and see how the Rebbe articulates it. We will as we go through it, we will note the different questions that are raised, and then perhaps in one of the shiurim or in the course of a few shiurim, we will review it and hopefully have a clearer picture of what's going on, if that's all right with you. Is that a good proposition? Yeah? Okay.
Can you revise the proposition?
I was appreciating on that. So, the Rebbe said like this. There is the Eir HaKav, the divine light, which is like a line, a thin line of divine light that is drawn down after the tzimtzum, after the first constriction, after the first contraction. And then there is the Eir of Shalifnei HaTzimtzum, the divine light which is before the contraction. These two levels are known as Eir HaMemale and Eir HaSeviv. The divine light that fills worlds and the divine light that surrounds worlds, that is transcendent. The Eir HaKav is the divine light that shines, that illuminates, that animates the whole of Ishtalshalus, and it comes down in an ordered manner, like a link chain. Whereas the Eir HaSeviv is a transcendent light. And the Rebbe went in to explain the differences between the two, and he began to say like this. That Eir HaMemale, he said the following things about it. In the divine light that fills worlds, there is higher and lower. Why? Because it is an Eir Pnimi, it's an internal light. It's a light that comes and clothes itself internally. When we say revelation, that it's a light that reveals itself to the one that it animates or reveals itself to, that's another way of saying hislapshus, that it clothes itself in it. It could be apprehended by the one that it illuminates.
Informs it.
Yes, absolutely. That's a good description.
Good word for it.
Yeah. And that's why, so all these things are related. Hischalkos protim, delineation, division, higher, lower, pinimi, internal, revelation, fusion, misached, right? These are all things that are related to each other because that's the definition of Eir HaMemale. And it has it's relatively, its potency is relative to that which it illuminates and inhabits and animates. So in other words, Eir HaMemale is a revelation. As he said, B'chinas Gilui Bilvad, Ve'eino Eir Atzmi, it's not an essential light. Because if it would be essential, an essence cannot be divided. If it is what it is what it is wherever it is, in its full potency. That's where we're up to. That's how the Rebbe explained Memale. Masha Enkein Eir HaSeviv Kol Almin. 7 lines on the bottom on page Shin Lamed Gimel.
That's what we're up to.
Well, we did that already. We did that.
We're going to revise that when you come back.
Up until the Rebbe explained Oyer HaMemale. Now the Rebbe goes and says how these things are we don't find in Seviv. That Seviv is different. This is not the case concerning the divine light that surrounds all worlds, who Oyer Makif. It is a transcendent light. What does that mean? Hainu Shemitzad Atzmei Hu Makif. It's transcended by virtue of itself, meaning to say, not that it's transcendent only because that where it shines cannot take it internally, because rather it is transcendent on its own. It is essentially transcendent, and therefore it cannot be fragmented. It cannot fuse. It cannot be revealed to the one that it shines on. And the Rebbe explains, the Rebbe articulates this. The Eira Seviv has no fragmentation into the details. No fragmentation of above and below. And not a fragmentation in the width. What's the difference between Mailo Mata and Reichev in the notional spiritual sense? Mailo Mata, it brings in the footnote to look in Imre Bina and Rishimas Maneira. So in the Rishimas Maneira over there, he brings. The Rishimas Maneira is the Rebbe's Rishima, the Rebbe's notes that he wrote about the Maneira and the Mishkan and Beis Hamikdash. Very long, beautiful, deep essay on the Maneira, Al Penigla, Al Pechsidis, how it works out in Avedas Adam, the different opinions of how it stood, which one was Neira Maravi. Very beautiful, powerful Rishima. But be that as it may, over there he explains, he talks about the fact that the Maneira stood in the width. That's where Reichav comes in. But anyway, over there he defines, bringing from Imre Bina, from the Middle Rebbe, that Mailo Mata means a level. It means something that goes from a higher level to a lower level. Meaning to say, it goes outside of itself. Mailo Mata means the Eir as it goes from one level to the next level. So the higher level being one separate level, as it were, and the lower level being something else, right? Another level. Whereas Reichav means fragmentation in and within itself, different aspects of the Eir, in and within itself, right? So when we talk about Seviv Kol Almin, there's no fragmentation at all, not in Mailo Mata. In other words, the higher and the lower are equal. There is no higher and lower. It's there. Okay. That's the same question you asked. It's related to the same question you asked before. Let's first go through. By the way, we'll talk about it more because I don't want to start getting into that before we have enough time to expound. Let's first go through what the Rebbe says, then we'll come back, as I said earlier. Right? So there's no Mailo Mata. It's not that there's a higher level and a lower level. Seviv Kol Almin is all over the same. And also Bereichav, within the same realm, as it were, it's there in its fullness all the way and at every stage within itself.
Similar to Bina, in a way.
Sorry?
Similar to Bina, which is
No.
which is it will stay there.
It doesn't mean that he's just using the term to explain what etzem means. What means something that is an etzem? An etzem means that wherever it is, that's what it is. Whether you talk about a higher, first of all, it's not that whether in a higher level or a lower level. So far as it is concerned, there is no higher and no lower. There's no Eschalkus Protim.
The same Soivish surrounds Bina, surrounds all the others.
Right.
That's the point.
The point is, take for example, what he's trying to say is like this. The difference with Mailo Mata would mean Chochma, Bina, and Das. That's Mailo Mata. Chochma higher, Bina lower, Das even lower. Eirech and Reicha, the Reich of the width would mean, take for example, Chochma itself. Within Chochma itself, when you have that, or you know what, let's use an easier metaphor, easiest way to say. Say for example, Bina. So you start fleshing out the point of Chochma, right? But in the different strands, but it's still all within Bina, right? But that is only possible in an Eir Pnimi. In an Eir Makif, in Seviv Kol Almin, it's all the same. In a certain sense, you're right, that Chochma would be a better metaphor for Eir Seviv, and Bina would be a better metaphor for Eir Mamali. Yes, okay. Because it is also linked. But generally, that's the idea of Eir Reichav and Mailo Mata. So therefore, there's no ischalkus, there's no delineation, there's no fragmentation at all. Why? Because he's makif mitzad atzmai. Because it is an essentially a transcendent light. Not just technically because it's not revealed. It's essentially transcendent. And therefore, since it is essentially transcendent, so therefore also the way it is drawn down into worlds, into realms, it is in a mode, it remains in a mode of surrounding or being transcendent to the worlds and realms. Right? So the fact that it's transcendent to worlds and realms is because it is essentially a transcendent light. Now, what does transcendent mean? What does it mean it surrounds worlds? So that's what he explains now. It doesn't mean that it surrounds worlds and it's like just on the outside, right? No. This is basically a quote from the Alter Rebbe in Perek Mem Ches, this expression, because the Seviv is not just someplace distant from the world, like the sun shining far away and just some of it coming here. No. Seviv is present internally and at the very core of every creature. Bipnimius, internally. So what does it mean that he's makif? If that's the case, if he's present inside the very core of every created being, right? So what does it mean that he's makif, he's transcendent? But because of the fact that it doesn't shine in a revealed way in worlds, right? And the Rebbe explains in the brackets what he means. The kivan she'en is chalkos. In the parentheses he explains. The kivan she'en is chalkos, since it has no fragmentation. And worlds are fragmented. And in order, chain order of one below the other. Therefore, it cannot tolerate the external light, the surrounding light, the transcendent light. And the way Seviv is present within worlds and created beings is in a concealed way. That's why it's called the one that surrounds worlds. Meaning to say, Seviv is present in the very core of each and every created being, each and every detail of creation. Right? But it's present there not in a revealed way. It's present there in a concealed way. And that is the meaning of Seviv Kol Almin, that it's concealed. So far as the created being is concerned, it's transcendent. Let's carry on and go through the whole train of thought. So the Rebbe goes back. And although the main life force of worlds is from Seviv, specifically, right? That Eira Seviv is responsible for creation. So the Rebbe says, yes, that's true, but the way the Seviv light is present in the worlds, it's present in a concealed manner. To the extent that the Eira Seviv will be revealed in them, in the worlds and created beings, they will become nullified from their existence. They'll stop existing. No more ishtalshlus, no more chain order of creation, no more worlds. And because the realms are defined as worlds, they're constricted. They have the confines, the characteristics of worlds. That's what makes them up. Therefore, they cannot receive the Seviv light, this surrounding light, this transcendent light, in a revealed manner. Now he goes back to Eira Memali in order to understand Seviv. Dihine. What does it mean it cannot take this Begillah? It won't be able to take it in a revealed manner. Because Eira Memali who Begillah Be'elmus. The difference between Seviv and Memali is that Seviv is not revealed in the worlds. That means transcendent. That means Seviv. Memali is revealed in the world. What does it mean Memali is revealed in worlds and created beings? V'hinei. So he says V'hinei. The light that fills worlds is revealed in the worlds. That means it fills it. And even in this physical world. Says the Rebbe, what do you mean that Eira Memali is revealed also in this physical world? He says, for although in this physical world we don't feel the light of Hashem that fills worlds, right? It's not that godliness is not revealed in this world. Not even Memali is revealed in this world. Otherwise the world would look completely different. Right? So what does it mean when we say that the Eira Memali is revealed in the world? So the Rebbe explains it. What does it mean that Eira Memali is not revealed in this world? That the interior, the light that fills worlds is not revealed. It doesn't mean that we are not aware of a life force. We are aware that there's a life force. Although in this physical world we don't feel the Eirem Mamali, all we don't know is that it's a godly life force. But created beings actually do feel that they have a life force that animates them, causes them to exist, right? And gives them life. Not only do created things understand in their intellect that they have a life force, not only do they understand it intellectually, they actually feel it. They feel the life force, that is their true existence. And that's the point. They don't know what this life force is, the essence of this life force. They think it's just a life force. But the fact that there's a difference between living beings and beings that don't live, and therefore, by virtue of that, understanding and feeling that we are animated by a life force, that's a given. But what is it? What is it? So the fact that there's a life force, that we understand, that we feel. The fact that it's a godly life force, that's the technical issue here. They imagine that it's just a plain life force, not godly. But the truth is that what? That it's a godly life force. So therefore, because of the fact that created beings understand and feel that they have a life force, it's just that they don't understand and feel that it's a godly life force. We're talking, of course, about the Eirem Mamali. And since the life force is essentially revealed in the world, it's only because of the concealment and the cover of the material, the substance of our existence. We don't know that it's a godly life force. It's understood that through working with oneself by refining and distilling the substance of our substance, then what? We will be able to come to the realization that it's a godly life force. How do we know? In other words, what the Rebbe is trying to drive at is there is a life force which is essentially detached, transcended from the world, and it cannot be revealed in the world, despite one's birur, v'zichuch, and so on and so forth, right? In other words, it's essentially concealed. Then there's a different type of concealment. Eirem Mamali. Eirem Mamali is revealed in the world. We don't understand it's a chayes, we don't feel that it's a godly life force. That's a technical issue. Refine yourself and you will. Whereas when we talk about Eirem Makif, no. It's Makif mitzad atzmai. That's the point that I'm trying to make. How do we know that the Eirem Mamali, the immanent light, the divine light that comes in a pnimius and revealed in worlds and creation, could be revealed to the extent that we even know that it's a godly life force? So the Rebbe says there's a precedent to it. Actually, we know that that's the way it was. How do we know? The Rebbe has proof for his proposition brings from what we find concerning Adam, the first man before he sinned, as it's brought in Pirkei Rabbi Lezer, that after Adam was created on Friday, he said to all the created beings, let's kneel, and let's submit ourselves to Hashem, our Maker. What does that mean? At that point, the created beings were in a state of nullification before Hashem. And what does it mean before Hashem? Because of the aspect of godliness, who is our Maker. What does it mean? Oseinu, the one the Maker that we relate to, specifically Shizou Eirem Mamali. It's a reference to God's divine light, which fills worlds. Vahainu, this means to say, Shanivroim kfi shahoyu b'mitziyusam, the created beings at that time, at the time of creation, before the sin of eating from the tree of knowledge, the way they were in their actual physical existence, hirgishu Eirem Mamali, they felt the divine light that fills worlds, and they felt that it's godly. Right? So what happens now after the sin of the Eitzadas? And also now, the divine light that fills worlds is revealed in created beings. Created beings feel their life, feel that which gives them life. There's a technical problem now. They what? They err in their the way they apprehend this matter, the way they comprehend this matter, the way they grasp this matter. They feel, we feel our life force, we feel that which animates us, we feel that which causes us to exist, but we don't know that it's a godly life force. Unlike before the sin of eating from the tree of knowledge, all created beings felt that it's a godly life force. But what are we talking about? This is all in reference to what? To the divine light that fills worlds. I'm sorry. This is all concerning the divine light of Memale that fills worlds, which is revealed in created beings. And that's what he says. What does it mean, revealed? Another way of saying Gilui, revelation, means that it's internal, it's immanent, within creation, within created beings. That means Gilui. The divine light, which surrounds world, that transcends worlds, is concealed within created beings. And what? So what's the point? Not because we have a problem in apprehending Eira Seviv. No. Eira Seviv is essentially makif. That's the word. Eira Mamale. The reason why we don't feel it, even though it's revealed within us, we don't feel the godliness of it, is because we are coarse. And if we refine ourselves, we'll be able to understand that what and feel that it's godly. Eira Seviv has nothing to do with our coarseness, with our limitations. Eira Seviv is essentially beyond grasp, essentially beyond reach. Eira Seviv is concealed within created beings. Not only that we don't understand that it's a godly life force, and we don't feel that it's a godly life force. We don't understand or feel it at all. Because created beings, as they are in their existence, in their structured being, they cannot tolerate simply. They can't handle the divine light that surrounds worlds. What will happen if it does reveal itself within created beings? They will expire. They'll cease existing. They will come bottled, nullified. So, in other words, what's the point that Rebbe is driving at after this whole arichas? The point that Rebbe is trying to drive at is this: that there is an essential difference between Eira Memale and Eira Seviv, the divine light that fills worlds, the divine light that transcends worlds. And he went into a number of aspects and details of where they're different. Eira Memale is fragmented, Eira Seviv is not fragmented. The fragmentation of Eira Memale is from above to below, right? And there's higher levels and lower levels, and that is built into the DNA of the Eir. It's not only because of where it comes and animates, it's built into the DNA of the Eir, and therefore it could come down into higher and lower levels. Eira Seviv, there's no fragmentation. And not because there's a technical issue in the place where it comes to illuminate and inhabit, and animate. No. It is essentially beyond fragmentation, and therefore its relationship with the place or the level where it comes to illuminate and animate is a transcendent one. It cannot become fragmented, right? So he says like this. And then he goes on to say that Eira Mamale is Begilui. Eira Mamale is a light that comes in a revealed manner into that which it gives life to, whereas Seviv does not. And even though we find concerning Eira Mamale that also there is some kind of concealment. Why? Because although created beings appreciate the fact that there is a life force that gives them life, but nevertheless they don't appreciate the fact that it's godly, so there is some kind of concealment. So it says that is a technical issue. That's a technical issue related to the coarseness of created beings. And therefore, if you remove that coarseness, how? Through avodah, through refinement, one can realize that the life force is godly. The Alter Rebbe says in the Likutei Torah that when it comes to Eira Mamale, it's not emunah. To have emunah in Hashem, faith, believing in Hashem, is not concerning Eira Mamale. That's idea. That's knowledge. Da'as Elokei Avicha. You could know Hashem. What do you mean da? How could you know? Eira Mamale. That's attainable. Eira Seviv, for that you need emunah. That's what Alter Rebbe says in the Likutei Torah. He brings in the footnotes. He refers to see the Likutei Torah. That's what Alter Rebbe says there, and that's the point that Rebbe is making. Why? Because Eira Seviv, the transcendent light, is essentially so. it cannot have that pneumistic relationship with created beings because it's beyond fragmentation. And if it's beyond fragmentation, essentially, it's beyond fusion with something that is fragmented. And therefore it has that Helem type of relationship, essentially, with, even though it's found within the very inner core of created beings, nevertheless, it has this transcendent relationship with it. So it's a paradox. On the one hand, it's responsible for the main earth that's responsible for existence, as we know it. It's to be found within the very core of every created being, and at the same time, its relationship is a transcendent one. That's the main point that I was driving at, and from that he'll go into Schar Mitzvah, that a mitzvah is the idea of bringing even this transcendent light into our state of consciousness, etc., etc. We will go back, please God, and discuss those points that we raised in the previous year and this year in the trying to understand Mamar Nosato Lireiecho. I just wanted to get into the point that I was driving at, and then we can go back and without losing ourselves in the train of thought that I was trying to develop in the mind.